This is Steve Adubato. We are in Atlantic City. This is the 165th New Jersey Education Association Convention. We're once again talking to the Executive Director of the NJEA, Ed Richardson. Good to see you, Ed.
Good to see you too. Thanks for being here, Steve.
Every year we've come here, there's energy, there's excitement. What makes this year particularly special?
I think just the fact that our educators feel a new mood in the state, really from the top, from the leadership of Governor Murphy. Our Education Commissioner, Lamont Repollet, is here.
The other thing that is, I don't know if it's different, Ed, but the conversation that's so critical. You and I talk a lot about the state of quote-unquote political discourse in our state, in our nation. Your organization put out a very public statement about the tone of public discourse, its connection to violence, and the role of educators in that regard. How important is improving and making more civil, if you will, our political discourse?
It's so vitally important from a policy standpoint. We have challenges that we face in New Jersey, across the nation. We will never be able to address those challenges unless we learn how to talk to each other in a cooperative and respectful way. There will always be issues of disagreement, whether it's across party lines.
When we disagree, are we enemies?
No, we don't have to be.
Why are we so often? Why do some believe you are my enemy if we disagree politically?
I think some of it is driven by the tenor of elections, and you know how we just saw.
We just finished the midterm elections. We're taping right after that. Talk about contentious.
Very contentious, and the nature of of all the advertising and so forth. And okay, that's part of the campaign, but we have to learn how to move on from that and work with whoever is elected, and not be working just to plan for the next election, which unfortunately I think is happening in a lot of the policy debates. It's, you know, what can we do to make sure that we have a soundbite for that next ad in 2 or 6 years?
But what's the role of education and educators in all this?
That's the really difficult thing. Our members are out there teaching our students about how to have respectful discourse, about how to discuss ideas and debate them, even when we disagree, and still be able to, you know, come out as friends, and at least as peers.
Respecting each other's point of view.
Respect each other.
Even if we disagree.
Even if we disagree.
That's the role of an educator?
I think so, yeah. Parents, of course, as well, families. But, so there we are trying to teach our kids those values. And yet
what do we
what
see
they
in adults?
see from the adults who are leading our nation is a way different kind of a dynamic. And so that is the difficulty for our members here. How do we navigate that difference?
School safety. We talked about I know where the organization is when it comes to putting guns in the hands of teachers, even well-trained, against it.
Against it.
Can we talk school bus safety? The horrific accident that happened, with so many children at risk. Victims, if you will. What are we doing there?
So we were among the very first organizations 20 plus years ago to call for seatbelts in school buses. And the state ultimately adopted a statute. New Jersey was one of the first to require them. We're now talking about 3-point safety belts in school buses.
Explain to folks what that means. 3-point.
Basically, right now, the belts that are required are the lap belts, which, you know, anybody who's been around as long as I have remembers that was the standard in passenger vehicles.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. You get in a car now, and it's natural. You have a 3-point seatbelt coming across. Why shouldn't our children have that in a school bus? So that is one of the policies.
What's standing in the way of that?
It's expensive, obviously, but you know, you can't put a price on the safety of our students. The tragedy that you referenced not only affected children and their families, but we did lose one of our members in that accident, and so you know, everybody is affected here, and so I think we owe it to our children, our families, our educators to provide the very best safety equipment we can on the buses.
We had the President of the State Senate, Steve Sweeney, talking about his plan to gain, as he believes, more fiscal responsibility in the state. And he did bring up, and you know this, going back and revisiting the question of public employee pensions, health benefits. You say?
We've come to the table. We've had extensive conversations with the administration and developed a host of cost-saving solutions that are right now being implemented. So not to get into the weeds on this, but a new plan for education retirees that will save the state $180 million a year. We went to the table a few years ago with the senator's help, because we needed legislation for this, to change the manner in which the state bids its prescription program. That resulted in a $1.5 billion savings over 3 years, and we're about to go back and rebid it to try and reap even more cost savings, probably in the neighborhood of 100 to 150 million a year. There are things that can be done to improve the way insurance is procured and delivered, and the way healthcare is delivered, to reap huge savings without automatically diminishing the level of benefits that people pay. The other issue that we have is, as a result of a law passed in 2011, we have members all over this state, educators, who are taking home less net pay from one year to the next. And the reason for that is the law required certain levels of healthcare premium sharing, and they are now exceeding any raises that people are getting. So, you know, you get a small raise over here, but your healthcare premium goes up by this much. We've got to end that. We cannot continue to have negative net pay year over year over year.
Ed Richardson is the executive director of the New Jersey Education Association. We're here at the 165th NJEA Convention in Atlantic City. Ed, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
Appreciate it.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by Rowan University, New Jersey Sharing Network, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Englewood Health, NJM Insurance Group, the Turrell Fund, supporting right from the start NJ, and by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.